Number 1. Mysterious pregnancy. Let's kick things off with the most awkward conversation in galactic history. Picture this. Qui-Gon Jinn, respected Jedi Master, asks a simple question about young Anakin's father. Shmi Skywalker's response? There was no father. Talk about a conversation stopper. According to the Phantom Menace, Shmi Skywalker gave birth to Anakin without a father. She couldn't explain it, nobody could explain it, and honestly, it freaked everyone out, especially the Jedi Council. But here's where it gets wild. In 41 BBY, she conceived Anakin through what can only be described as space magic trademark, or more accurately, the will of the Force itself. The midi-chlorians, those microscopic life forms that exist in all living things, somehow decided to create life within Shmi. Why her? Why Tatooine? The Force works in mysterious ways, folks. And apparently it has a thing for desert planets and dramatic irony. Shmi herself wasn't originally from Tatooine. She was born on an unknown planet to parents who have likewise never been named in the franchise. She and her parents were captured and forced into slavery by pirates, which honestly makes her story even more tragic. Here's a woman who's been dealt the worst hand possible, enslaved as a child, separated from her parents, forced to raise a son alone in slavery, and then that son grows up to become, well, Space Hitler. Mother's Day in the Skywalker household must have been complicated. The real kicker? Shmi actually found happiness for a brief moment. She eventually married a moisture farmer named Cliegg Lars after he bought and freed her, becoming stepmother to Owen Lars. Yes, the same Owen, who would later raise Luke. But because this is Star Wars and we can't have nice things, she was abducted by Tusken Raiders, tortured, and eventually died in Anakin's arms in Attack of the Clones. This moment became the first domino in Anakin's fall to the dark side, proving that the Skywalker family trauma starts early and hits hard. Number 2. Catastrophic love. Anakin Skywalker, pod racing prodigy, chosen one, and absolute disaster at romance. Seriously, if there was a galactic award for worst at handling relationships, Anakin would win it 9 times out of 10. The 10th time would go to his grandson, but we'll get there. As a Jedi Knight, he gained the reputation of a war hero while fighting in the Clone Wars. But here's the thing about Anakin. He was simultaneously the best and worst Jedi ever. Best because of his raw power and combat skills. Worst because he literally broke every rule in the Jedi handbook, starting with the big one: no attachments. Anakin completed his Jedi training under Kenobi's supervision and secretly married Senator Padmé Amidala at the end of Attack of the Clones. Their secret marriage was about as well kept as a Wookiee at a hair salon. Everyone basically knew but pretended they didn't, because hey, the guy was winning battles left and right during the Clone Wars. But Anakin's fear of loss, triggered by his mother's death, became his ultimate undoing. In 19 BBY, Anakin foresaw that his secret wife, Senator Padmé Amidala, would die in childbirth. Instead of, talking to someone about it or seeking help, Anakin decided the logical solution was to trust the obviously evil Chancellor who'd been grooming him since childhood. The transformation from Anakin to Vader is genuinely one of the most tragic falls in cinema history. Convinced that the dark side was the key to saving Amidala, Anakin prevented the Jedi from destroying Sidious and became Darth Vader, leading the assault on the Jedi Temple where he, and I cannot stress how messed up this is, murdered younglings. Children. The same guy who once said, "I don't like sand," was now committing war crimes before breakfast. The ultimate irony? In trying to save Padmé, he ended up causing her death. After force choking his pregnant wife, relationship red flag alert, she died during childbirth, though whether from physical trauma or simply losing the will to live, remains one of Star Wars' most debated plot points. Upon his reconstruction, Vader was told by the Emperor that he had killed Amidala in anger. The dark side, great for lightning fingers, terrible for keeping your loved ones alive. Ready to dive deeper into Star Wars lore? Smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're breaking down the galaxy's greatest mysteries every week. Plus, your midichlorian count increases by 10 every time you hit like. That's just science. Number 3. Destinies divided. Now here's where the story gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean coordinated by 2 aging hermits who decided to split up twins and lie to them for decades. Unknown to Vader, his children survived their mother's death. They were hidden from their father and his master, with Luke sent to live with his relatives on Tatooine while Leia was adopted by the House of Organa. Let's talk about Luke first. This farm boy from Tatooine, because apparently all Skywalkers must suffer on sand planets, spent his youth whining about power converters and dreaming of adventure. Little did he know his dad was out there force-choking middle management across the galaxy. Luke's journey from moisture farmer to Jedi Knight is the classic hero's journey, complete with wise mentors who conveniently forget to mention crucial family details. Oh, by the way, That evil cyborg you're fighting? He's your dad. Should have mentioned that earlier, my bad. When Sidious was about to kill Luke, this was the last push Anakin needed to finally fulfill his destiny and destroy the Sith. Luke's unwavering belief that good still existed in Vader accomplished what armies couldn't, redeeming Anakin Skywalker. It only took getting electrocuted by Palpatine for Vader to remember, oh right, I'm supposed to be destroying the Sith, not helping them. Better late than never, I suppose. Meanwhile, Leia was living her best princess life on Alderaan, becoming a senator, leading rebellions, and generally being more competent than everyone around her. Leia grew up happily as part of the Alderaanian royal family, though she rarely left the planet before the age of 10. Fun fact from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series: Leia was kidnapped when she was 10, in a plot meant to draw out Obi-Wan Kenobi. Even as a child, Leia was already involved in galaxy-shaking events. Some kids collect rocks. Leia collected political enemies. The twins' eventual discovery of their relationship has to be one of the most awkward family reunions ever. Remember that kiss in Empire Strikes Back? Yeah, they both try really hard not to think about that. But despite the weirdness, Luke and Leia's bond became central to the rebellion's success. Luke's connection with his father was important, but it was his friendship and camaraderie he found with his long-lost twin sister, Leia Organa, that was Luke's driving force in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Number 4. Smuggler genes. Enter Han Solo, the scruffy-looking nerf herder who somehow married into the galaxy's most dramatic family. Han goes from a selfish loner, aside from his faithful companion Chewbacca, to a galactic hero after he agrees to smuggle Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi to Alderaan. Talk about a career change. From smuggling spice to smuggling hope for the galaxy. Han and Leia's romance is the stuff of legend. Bickering, sexual tension you could cut with a lightsaber, and the greatest I love you response in cinema history. Their relationship proved that even in a galaxy full of space wizards and planet-destroying weapons, there's still room for a good old-fashioned enemies-to-lovers arc. Plus, Han brought something crucial to the Skywalker line: normal human genes and a healthy skepticism of hokey religions and ancient weapons. But genetics are a funny thing, especially when you mix a Force-sensitive princess with a smuggler who once did the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Yes, we know parsecs are distance, not time. Don't at me. Their son would inherit the worst of both worlds: Skywalker drama and Solo stubbornness. Number 5. Solo's fall. If you thought Anakin's fall to the dark side was bad, buckle up for the sequel. Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, aka the galaxy's angriest nephew. Within Disney's canon, Leia and Han have only one child, Ben Solo, Adam Driver. He is the last of the Skywalker bloodline. Named after Ben Kenobi, because this family loves their emotional callbacks, Ben Solo had everything going for him: famous parents, incredible Force sensitivity, training from Luke Skywalker himself. So naturally, he threw it all away for a cool helmet and anger management issues. Despite the Jedi's best efforts, Ben is turned to the dark side through the manipulation of Darth Sidious and Supreme Leader Snoke of the First Order. Yes, Palpatine was somehow behind it all along. Cue collective groaning from fans. Through Force visions, whispers, and good old-fashioned manipulation, Palpatine corrupted Ben from across the galaxy. It's like catfishing, but with more lightsabers and patricide. The moment that broke Ben was when Luke, sensing the darkness growing in his nephew, briefly considered killing him in his sleep. Luke immediately regretted the thought, but Ben woke up to see his uncle standing over him with an ignited lightsaber. Talk about trust issues. This misunderstanding led to Ben destroying Luke's new Jedi temple, killing fellow students, and running off to join the First Order. The Skywalker family tradition of massively overreacting to emotional trauma continues. As Kylo Ren, Ben became everything Vader was, but with added millennial angst. He worshipped his grandfather's burned helmet, totally normal behavior, threw temper tantrums that destroyed expensive equipment, and had the most complicated relationship with Rey that made their Force bonds basically supernatural FaceTime sessions. Their dynamic, enemies to allies, to whatever that hand-touching scene was, defined the sequel trilogy. Number 6. Adopted legacy. And now we reach Rey, the scavenger from Jakku, who went from nobody to somebody, to Palpatine's granddaughter, to finally a Skywalker. Rey was the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine. Refusing to embrace her Sith heritage, Rey faced her grandfather on Exegol and defeated him for good. Her journey is basically nature versus nurture, the movie trilogy. Rey's story intersects with the Skywalkers when she finds Luke on Ahch-To, where he's basically become a space hermit who drinks green milk and refuses to help anyone. Not exactly the legendary Jedi Master she was expecting, but through persistence and throwing his lightsaber off a cliff, she convinced him that the galaxy still needed the Jedi. Later, her training would then be completed by Leia Organa. The relationship between Rey and Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, deserves its own analysis. They went from him interrogating her, to them fighting together, to that kiss on Exegol that divided the fanbase more than the prequels ever did. Ben ultimately sacrificed his life to save Rey, giving the last of his life force to bring her back from death. The last Skywalker by blood died saving a Palpatine. Poetry, irony, or just Star Wars being Star Wars? You decide. Number 7. Skywalker. Name Luke and Leia's Force ghosts. Later looked on her with pride as she proclaimed herself a Skywalker. When Rey chose to take the Skywalker name at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, she wasn't just adopting a surname, she was choosing her family. The Skywalker legacy, which began with a slave woman's mysterious pregnancy, had transformed from a bloodline into something more, an ideal. The significance of Rey Skywalker goes beyond genetics. The Skywalkers were always about choice. Anakin chose fear, then redemption. Luke chose hope over despair. Leia chose rebellion over comfort. Ben chose darkness, then light. And Rey? She chose to reject her dark heritage and embrace the light, proving that who you are matters more than where you come from. Some fans argue Rey didn't earn the Skywalker name. But consider this, she was trained by 2 Skywalkers, saved by a Skywalker, and ultimately carried on their mission to bring balance to the Force. If that doesn't make you family, what does? Plus, it's not like the Skywalkers were using the name anymore. Ben went by Solo, and everyone else was literally dead. Number 8. Beyond Blood. The Skywalker saga officially ended with Episode 9, but the family's impact on the galaxy continues. The Skywalker bloodline, name, and genetic line came to an end. But is Rey a Skywalker? Not from a genetic perspective, no, but she was essentially made an honorary Skywalker by the Force ghosts of Luke and Leia. What makes the Skywalker story so compelling isn't just the lightsaber battles or Force powers, it's the deeply human story of family dysfunction on a galactic scale. Every generation tried to fix the mistakes of the previous one, usually making new mistakes in the process. It's generational trauma with space battles, essentially therapy with more explosions. The Skywalkers gave us 9 films of family drama that makes your holiday dinners look peaceful by comparison. They showed us that heroes can fall, villains can be redeemed, and sometimes the family you choose is more important than the family you're born into. They taught us that fear leads to the dark side, but love, messy, complicated, sometimes destructive love, can bring you back to the light. From Shmi's unexplained pregnancy to Rey taking the Skywalker name on Tatooine, where else? The saga comes full circle. The boy who hated sand had descendants who kept returning to it, because apparently the Force has a sense of humor. The family that started as slaves became legends, shaping the fate of the galaxy for 3 generations. The Skywalker name now represents hope, redemption, and the belief that no one is ever truly gone. Whether through Force ghosts, memories, or adopted daughters carrying on the legacy, the Skywalkers prove that some things transcend death. Their story reminds us that we all have the power to choose our destiny, to rise above our circumstances, and to find belonging even in the most unlikely places. Want more deep dives into Star Wars lore? Subscribe now and join our galactic community. Comment below with which character's backstory you want explained next. May the Force be with you, always. And remember, the high ground isn't just tactical, it's a lifestyle choice.